Divide the child into two parts. Give half to the one woman, half to the other.
Oh no!
Deep beneath the endless sands of the Middle East, hidden under layers of limestone, dust, and 5,000 years of stillness, something stirred from long ago, the tomb of King Solomon. For centuries, people searched for it like it was the ultimate treasure. And now, it's been discovered. But the big question is, why did it stay hidden for so long? Before this story disappears again, let's open the door to what was really found inside King Solomon's tomb. Grab your tea, get comfortable, and trust me, you'll want to hear every bit of this. Who was King Solomon? King Solomon is one of history's most mysterious figures, ruling ancient Israel during its golden era, from 970 to 931 BCE. Like threading gold through cloth, Solomon brought together wisdom and wealth to build a powerful kingdom. The son of the famous King David, Solomon took the throne when he was only 12. Under his rule, Israel reached its peak, stretching from the Euphrates River to Egypt's border. But Solomon's greatest strength wasn't in battles, it was in his unmatched wisdom. One of the most famous stories is when two women came to him, both claiming the same baby. His shocking idea to split the child in two revealed the real mother, showing his deep understanding of people. While Solomon ruled, Jerusalem grew into a breathtaking city. His greatest project? The first temple. Built over 7 years, it was covered in gold, filled with gems, and made from cedar brought all the way from Lebanon. People traveled from faraway places just to meet him. One of the most famous visitors was the Queen of Sheba. She arrived with camels full of gold, spices, and jewels to challenge his wisdom. In the end, she admitted his knowledge was even greater than she imagined. But Solomon wasn't just a wise ruler. He also wrote thousands of proverbs and over 1,000 songs. He's credited with the biblical books of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon, though scholars still debate the details. His copper mines in the Timnah Valley showed his skill in trade too. Archaeologists found advanced mining tools and evidence of huge wealth flowing into his kingdom. His ships sailed to a place called Ophir, returning with rare goods and riches beyond imagination. But in his later years, things changed. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines, many from other nations, and they brought their own beliefs with them. His huge projects and grand way of living began to drain the kingdom's resources. Still, Solomon's legacy lasted. His name came to represent wisdom, riches, and even magical power in stories across Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions. The Seal of Solomon, believed to control supernatural forces, sparked legends that lasted for centuries. And now, with new archaeological finds, some of those ancient stories are lining up with real evidence. From copper mines to massive structures and luxury goods, pieces of Solomon's world are slowly being uncovered. But much about his life is still hidden in mystery. As we strip away the layers of myth to uncover the real Solomon, we're left with a surprising truth. A king whose wisdom gave him everything, yet who still questioned whether it all truly mattered. His story reminds us that real wisdom often means knowing what we can't control. Speaking of limits, modern archaeologists faced their own when trying to find Solomon's tomb. It took both high-tech tools and a lot of old-school determination. So, how did they finally do it? How did we finally find the tomb? Finding King Solomon's tomb was like searching for a needle in a desert-sized haystack. Dr. Emily Carter and her team ran into endless dead ends before a strange clue turned things around: ancient tax records. These faded scrolls showed a pattern, regular tribute payments heading toward a forgotten part of the Jerusalem hills. Using satellite images, the team noticed odd geometric shapes that didn't fit the natural surroundings. When they first started digging, they hit solid rock. Their gear broke against a stone layer that wasn't just tough. It was designed to protect something underneath. Dr. Hughes realized this wasn't just hard limestone. It was a man-made barrier meant to fool thieves. And then an old tale caught Dr. Carter's ear, a local story about a shepherd who lost a goat down a narrow crack in the ground. The detail that stood out. The boy spoke of walls that sparkled like stars. That strange line matched descriptions of Solomon's building style. Then came the turning point. During a heavy rainstorm, water started flowing differently in one small spot. It revealed a shallow dip in the earth. When they checked it with ground-penetrating radar, they found something big, a huge maze of tunnels underground. They soon realized this place wasn't just hidden, it was protected. The tomb had false paths that would collapse if you entered the wrong way. Thanks to Dr. Carter's deep knowledge of ancient Hebrew construction, the team figured out which route was real. After 3 months of slow, careful digging, they finally began to uncover a string of chambers. Each room tested their skills. Weak beams, dusty traps, and sudden shifts in the rock made progress slow and dangerous. At one point, the dig almost stopped completely when their funding ran out. But just in time, they found a small golden seal with Solomon's mark. That was enough to convince their backers to keep supporting the mission. The team didn't rush. They documented every detail, taking photos and creating 3D scans before moving ahead. That's when they noticed something others might have missed: hidden symbols pointing to the tomb's main chamber. But getting there wasn't easy. The ancient structure was fragile. Modern engineers had to step in, installing supports to keep everything from caving in. The team had to walk a fine line, preserving the tomb without damaging it. Old digging methods weren't enough, so they came up with new ones, mixing today's technology with knowledge from the past. They even used AI to spot layout patterns that no one had seen before. As they moved deeper underground, the air felt heavy, like the past was pressing in all around them. With every careful step, they were closing in on a discovery that had taken centuries to reach. The tomb's defenses didn't just test their skills, they seemed to test their worth. To get through the final stretch, the team had to solve a series of architectural riddles. Each one unlocked another part of Solomon's story. Slowly, they began to realize the tomb itself had been built as a tribute to his legendary mind. Just as they were about to reach the final chamber, nature stepped in with one last trial. A sudden earthquake shook the ground, threatening to trap the tomb forever. The team worked non-stop to reinforce the structure and keep going. Like a mystery novel unfolding underground, each new clue brought more questions. As they stood at the edge of the final chamber, one thought hung heavy. What had Solomon taken with him into the earth? How archaeologists gained access after 5,000 years. The sealed entrance to King Solomon's tomb stood before them like an ancient puzzle just waiting to be solved. Dr. Emily Carter approached the massive stone door, filled with awe but focused. One wrong move could erase everything they'd worked for. Using ground-penetrating radar, the team began mapping the entrance. Modern science met ancient design. It was like solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. They slowly figured out how the ancient builders had locked the tomb. The radar showed a hidden system of counterweights and secret compartments behind the stone. The turning point came when Dr. Hughes spotted strange wear marks on the door's surface. These matched ancient records that spoke of Solomon's love for math puzzles. That clue led to a big discovery. The lock worked using a number pattern based on the ancient Hebrew calendar. With help from local experts, the team recreated the opening mechanism using 3D models. They found 7 pressure points that had to be activated in the right order. Each number had a personal connection to Solomon's life. It took 3 long, exhausting days to open the door. They used custom-made tools to apply just the right amount of pressure to to each point. Team members rotated shifts, watching and recording every tiny shift in the stone. With each quiet click, the tension in the room grew. On the final day, they hit their toughest moment. The last part of the system needed 3 pressure points activated all at once. One wrong move and tons of rock could fall, closing the tomb forever. Dr. Carter led the effort, steady and calm, even with the weight of history pressing down on her. Then it happened. The ancient gears creaked to life. The giant stone door, untouched for 5,000 years, slowly began to open. Light crept into the dark for the first time in millennia. As stale air rushed out, it felt like forgotten whispers were slipping past them. Conservation experts moved in right away. They tracked oxygen levels and moisture to make sure nothing inside would be damaged. Special lighting was installed to protect any fragile colors and materials. But just beyond the first chamber was a surprise: a second door. This one was covered in symbols the team had never seen before. Another puzzle, but this time they had something priceless: the lessons learned from the first. As word of the discovery spread, archaeologists everywhere recognized this as one of the biggest moments in recent history. The techniques used to unlock the tomb were about to change how experts approached other ancient sealed sites. But this wasn't just about getting inside, it was about understanding the brilliance behind it. The team had managed to connect 5,000 years of history through patience and insight. As Dr. Carter often put it, we didn't just break in, we learned to think like the people who built it. With the doorway finally open and the dust beginning to settle, the team got ready for their first real look inside. What had been waiting in the dark all these years? What they were about to see would turn so much of what we thought we knew about ancient history on its head. What did they see upon opening the tomb? The giant stone door opened with a slow groan, like an ancient voice finally speaking after thousands of years. A burst of air, untouched for millennia, slipped into the modern world. Dr. Emily Carter raised her flashlight, and the beam lit up a scene that froze the entire team in their tracks. The tomb of King Solomon, perfectly preserved, lay before them like something out of a dream. The first chamber shimmered in a golden haze, with fine gold dust dancing through the air. The walls weren't faded like most old tombs. Instead, they looked almost new, covered in colorful paintings showing scenes of Solomon's wisdom. The team stood still, barely breathing, their tools feeling out of place among such beauty. In the middle of the room stood a massive golden throne, its armrests shaped into roaring lions. The cushion on the seat still held the faint impression of someone who once sat there. The surface glittered with jewels arranged in shifting patterns that sparkled under the lights. Dr. Hughes pointed out how it matched descriptions from ancient texts. 6 steps, 12 lions, just like the Bible said. The deeper they looked, the more the air felt heavy with meaning. All around the room were ceremonial items, carefully placed and untouched. 7 gold menorahs stood evenly spaced, still bright and clean. Incense burners sat nearby, filled with ancient resins that seemed ready to be lit again. But the most powerful finds were personal. On a small table, they found Solomon's royal seal ring, etched with a Star of David. Nearby, ancient Hebrew scrolls lay undisturbed, possibly holding stories no one had read in thousands of years. There were tiny glass vials, still sealed, holding what smelled like anointing oils. Somehow, the scent had survived the centuries. In one quiet corner of the tomb, they found something they hadn't expected: a private room filled with writing tools. It looked like a place Solomon might have used for quiet reflection or writing. A small wooden desk, still in perfect shape, held old reed pens and dried ink wells, preserved thanks to the tomb's perfect conditions. The team took their time, documenting everything down to the tiniest detail. They knew that every single item could change what we understood about history. Some of the artifacts pointed to faraway trade, scraps of silk from China, carved ivory from Africa, and spices from India still sealed in small jars. It confirmed how far Solomon's influence reached. But the biggest mystery lay in the shadows. Tucked in an alcove, they found a locked chest covered in strange symbols, unlike anything they had seen before. The chest gave off an odd feeling, almost like it held something alive. Dr. Carter believed this might hold Solomon's most treasured items, but they couldn't rush it. Figuring out how to open it would take time and careful study. As the team geared up for detailed documentation, they couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The first chamber alone held enough artifacts to fill entire museums. Yet several doorways led deeper into the tomb, each one hinting at even bigger discoveries. At this point, the question wasn't just what they had found, but what these treasures might reveal about the legendary wealth of King Solomon. As they moved forward, one thought kept coming back. What if the old stories had actually understated the truth? Are the legends of Solomon's wealth true? As the team's flashlights swept across the next chamber, golden reflections danced across the stone walls like starlight. Gems and metals shimmered everywhere, like someone had scattered treasure across the room on purpose. If anything, the old stories didn't go far enough. The riches in Solomon's tomb made even places like Fort Knox look small in comparison. Gold artifacts lined the walls in perfectly arranged rows. Each item looked like it had its own tale to tell, carefully crafted, beautifully preserved. At the center of it all was Solomon's legendary throne. Made from solid gold and ivory, it sat atop 6 steps with 12 golden lions guarding the sides, each one representing a tribe of Israel. The armrests were etched with tiny scenes showing moments from Solomon's most well-known decisions. Dr. Emily Carter's hands were visibly shaking as she examined a group of gold vessels. These weren't ordinary containers, they were the actual sacred vessels used in the temple Solomon had built. Every item had ancient Hebrew inscriptions that explained its purpose and the rituals it had once been part of. But there was more, much more. Dozens of chests held rare goods from all over the world. There were peacock feathers from India, carved ivory from Africa, and fine silk from China. These finds gave clear physical proof of Solomon's global trade connections, something long believed but never fully confirmed until now. Then came the gemstones, huge emeralds, rubies that seemed to glow from within, and diamonds so bright they hurt your eyes if the light hit just right. But one stood out, a deep blue gem unlike any of the others. Some scholars on site believed it could be the legendary shamir, a mysterious stone said in old writings to have magical or unusual qualities. The tomb wasn't just about wealth in gold and jewels. In perfect condition were scrolls believed to be written in Solomon's own hand. These documents covered his business deals, foreign relationships, and most remarkably, wisdom writings never included in religious texts. They offered a more personal, reflective look at the man behind the legend. In one corner of the chamber, the team stumbled upon something unexpected, a collection of musical instruments. One of them was a 10-stringed harp, said to be Solomon's own. Somehow it had survived 5,000 years. The detail in the carving showed these weren't just tools for music, they were ceremonial art. By the time they took everything in, the team estimated the tomb's total value could easily be in the billions. But even that didn't come close to what these discoveries meant culturally and historically. Every item told a story and gave rare insight into royal life, economics, and spiritual traditions in ancient Israel. Modern testing revealed another surprise. The gold used in many of the objects matched exactly with descriptions of gold from Ophir, the mysterious place Solomon's ships once sailed to, and the purity? Higher than what most modern methods could achieve. But in the middle of all this unbelievable wealth, one small clay tablet quietly stole the show. It had been written by Solomon himself, a few simple lines reflecting on wealth. The words echoed a familiar thought from Ecclesiastes: "Who loves money will not be satisfied with money." Even in the middle of all that overwhelming wealth, it was clear that Solomon understood something deeper. Real value doesn't come from riches alone. As the team moved on to examine more of the tomb's mysterious items, they couldn't help but wonder, what else might still be hiding in the shadows? The next chamber promised even more incredible finds, ones that could change what we know about biblical history. Stick around till the end. You won't want to miss what they uncovered next. Mysterious artifacts discovered inside. The team's excitement grew as they stepped into the next room, revealing a new collection of strange and beautiful objects. Each one felt like a missing puzzle piece, slowly bringing Solomon's world into focus. The first thing to catch their eye was a golden scepter inlaid with lapis lazuli. The detail was breathtaking, so precise that even today's best tools would struggle to match it. Dr. Carter pointed out how the patterns on the scepter matched designs found in old Hebrew writings, giving the piece both artistic and historical weight. Nearby, they found a group of ancient scrolls sealed inside copper tubes. Thanks to the tomb's ideal conditions, the scrolls were in amazing shape. Early translations revealed writings that hadn't been seen before, new words of wisdom, likely penned by Solomon himself. Then they came across something that stumped everyone, a bronze device with gears and dials etched in Hebrew. No one could say for sure what it was, but some researchers believe it might be an early form of an astronomical calculator used to track stars and planets. But what really rocked the archaeological world was the discovery of Solomon's personal seal ring. Shaped with the familiar six-pointed star, the ring matched historical descriptions exactly. Tests confirmed the gold dated back to around 970 BCE, the exact time of Solomon's reign. One of the most puzzling objects was a clear crystal orb filled with an unknown liquid. When light passed through it, the orb sent moving patterns of color across the tomb's stone walls. Scientists are still trying to figure out what's inside and how it works. The team also found ceremonial robes woven with gold threads and gems. Textile experts were stunned. Clothing made this way shouldn't have lasted this long, let alone be in such good condition. The craftsmanship was far beyond what anyone expected from that time. On another wall, shelves of alabaster jars held ancient perfumes and spices. The scents came from trade routes stretching from Africa to India. A few samples even came from plants that no longer exist, completely unknown to modern science. Perhaps the most mind-blowing discovery came in the form of stone tablets covered in coded symbols. These weren't just religious or political notes. They described complex math and systems that showed a level of knowledge far ahead of what we thought ancient Israel had. Hidden compartments revealed letters between Solomon and leaders from Egypt and Phoenicia. These documents gave a clearer view of how politics and trade worked during his rule, filling gaps that had long puzzled historians. The team also uncovered musical instruments they'd never seen before. The design suggested a deep understanding of sound and acoustics, centuries ahead of similar inventions elsewhere. But then came something unexpected, a strange black box covered in warnings and ancient seals. After careful examination, researchers realized it contained detailed maps of underground tunnels beneath the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. It raised all kinds of new questions. Each new item challenged what experts thought they knew about ancient technology and knowledge. The level of advancement hinted that Solomon's kingdom was far more sophisticated than previously believed. As news of the find spread, researchers from all over the world joined the effort. Historians, scientists, and engineers came together to study the deeper meaning of what had been found. Every artifact unlocked more questions about what humans were capable of back then and how much of history we still don't fully understand. The treasures of Solomon's tomb are still giving up their secrets, and with each discovery, our picture of the ancient world gets a little clearer. Like a window into the past, these artifacts are giving us rare, first-hand insight into one of history's most mysterious rulers. But what's coming next could be even more incredible. The team is now turning to the tomb's inscriptions, messages carved into stone that might rewrite parts of history as we know it. These aren't just decorations, they're clues that could shake the foundations of modern archaeology. Curious? Stick around. What do the inscriptions reveal about ancient times? The carved walls of Solomon's tomb told stories far deeper than anyone expected. As Dr. Emily Carter slowly traced the ancient Hebrew letters with her fingers, her expression changed. These weren't just markings. They were voices from long ago, sharing clear details about life during Solomon's rule. One of the most powerful discoveries came from the Eastern Wall. There they found a prayer that had never been seen before. Solomon's own words about leadership. "May wisdom guide my hand as stars guide sailors," it read. This poetic line gave a rare glimpse into the inner weight he carried as king. Looking up, the team noticed something remarkable. The ceiling held astronomical charts, etched star patterns that matched exactly with the skies from 3,000 years ago. The ancient Israelites, it turned out, knew far more about astronomy than anyone had thought. The maps showed detailed knowledge of lunar cycles and seasonal changes, things only advanced science could explain. Behind a cleverly hidden panel, the archaeologists found letters between Solomon and leaders from neighboring kingdoms. These documents revealed a complex network of trade and diplomacy with Egypt, Phoenicia, and beyond, proof that his influence stretched further than the Bible even suggested. On the tomb's western wall, the team found ancient medical notes. These texts combined healing rituals with real, practical remedies. One inscription described using honey to treat wounds, a method that modern science now confirms works. These records could open up a whole new understanding of healthcare in the ancient world. Several inscriptions spoke about the Queen of Sheba, and this time not as a myth. The writings described her as a powerful ally who brought valuable knowledge about farming and water systems. Her presence was finally confirmed outside of religious tradition. Some of the most intriguing messages were written in code. Dr. Robert Hughes spent weeks working on them. What he uncovered were instructions, secret techniques used in the construction of the first temple. These texts may explain how builders achieved such accuracy without modern tools. Near the main burial chamber, the team found the names and notes of the workers who built the tomb. One touching message read, "For our wise king, we built this with love." These small personal details made the massive project feel human, full of care and pride. Not all the inscriptions were peaceful. Several warnings were carved into the stone, hinting at terrible events that might follow if the tomb was ever disturbed. Some of the team laughed them off as ancient curses, but others quietly wondered if those warnings helped keep the tomb untouched for thousands of years. Then came something no one expected: musical notes carved into the northern wall. The markings were ancient music, likely played in Solomon's court. These could help researchers recreate the sounds of that time, possibly bridging a 3,000-year gap in music history. The amount of writing alone showed that this tomb was more than just a place to bury a king. It was a record, a library carved in stone, meant to be found, studied, and understood. The tomb wasn't just a resting place, it was a library carved in stone, created to protect and pass down knowledge. Each wall focused on a different subject, almost like chapters in a massive, silent book. As researchers keep digging into the details, more secrets come to light every day. The inscriptions are offering a rare, up-close view into ancient Israeli society. What's becoming clear is that this was a highly developed culture, one that deeply valued learning, creativity, and scientific progress. What does this discovery mean for modern history? Finding King Solomon's tomb is like building a bridge between two worlds. It connects our modern lives with a long-lost era of wisdom and leadership. This one discovery has shaken the academic world and challenged so much of what we thought we understood about biblical archaeology. Until now, Solomon often felt more like a legend than a real person. But this tomb changes that. Everything inside, the artifacts, the writings, the layout, lines up with historical records in a way that's hard to ignore. Diplomatic seals discovered in the tomb even confirm his ties with the Queen of Sheba, giving solid proof of international relationships we once only knew from stories. The collection of items shows just how connected Solomon's kingdom really was. Trade routes, political alliances, and cultural exchanges, his world wasn't small. It rivaled the kind of global economy we see today. Then there's the engineering. The tomb's design features complex locks, precise geometry, and clever hidden passages. These details suggest ancient builders had a level of knowledge we didn't think possible in 3000 BCE. It's as if we found a lost manual on how to do things we assumed only modern tools could accomplish. Each new discovery adds more to the picture: hidden rooms, secret hallways, and items never before seen. It's like unboxing a series of surprises, each more unbelievable than the last. The more they uncover, the clearer it becomes that Solomon's kingdom was much more advanced than we ever gave it credit for. Even the way the tomb was preserved is turning heads. The embalming and environmental control methods used inside rival those of the Egyptians, suggesting some kind of shared or exchanged knowledge between ancient cultures. What we're learning here could even help modern experts improve how we conserve fragile artifacts today. And then there's the climate data. Tiny traces in the tomb's wood, fabrics, and walls are giving scientists clues about the environment 3,000 years ago, helping us better understand how ancient people adapted to their world. This ancient data is doing more than just filling in the past. It's helping scientists better understand long-term climate patterns and how they've shaped human civilization. In a way, the past is speaking directly to our future. And maybe the most powerful message of all? This discovery shows that many so-called myths might hold more truth than we ever gave them credit for. Like a beam of light cutting through thick fog, it helps us see more clearly, not just about Solomon, but about ourselves and where we come from. The impact reaches far and wide, across archaeology, theology, engineering, and environmental science. As researchers continue to analyze every piece of this discovery, one thing is certain: our understanding of ancient civilization will never be the same. The find has also forced experts to rethink long-held beliefs about King Solomon's reign. Dr. Carter points out that the tomb's complex design shows a level of architectural knowledge no one expected from that era. It's changed the way we think about what was possible 3,000 years ago. So far, Dr. Carter's team has cataloged over 300 unique artifacts, each with its own story to tell. But the most remarkable discovery? A series of clay tablets, believed to contain Solomon's personal writings. These aren't just official commands or royal records, they're reflections, his thoughts on leadership, fairness, and human nature itself. For Dr. Carter, the journey has been deeply personal. When I started this project, some people called it a fool's errand, she says with a smile. Now we're rewriting the history books. Her determination, much like Solomon's wisdom, has stood the test of time, and the discoveries keep growing in significance. From how the tomb was built, to the way organic materials were preserved, to the strength and purity of the metals used, each detail offers clues that could reshape modern practices in architecture, medicine, and material science. But for Dr. Carter, the biggest thrill is still the unknown. Every answer we find leads to 10 more questions, she says, glancing at a wall covered in excavation photos. This tomb isn't just about the past, it's about what we'll understand next about who we are. The team continues their work with extreme care, using the latest tools to capture every detail. Their findings will inspire academic study for years to come. But Dr. Carter is clear. History isn't just for historians, it's for all of us. It's our shared story. As the sun dips below the horizon at the dig site, her excitement hasn't faded a bit. Like Solomon's legacy, some things really are timeless. Her final words linger. We've only scratched the surface of what this tomb can teach us. And it leaves us all wondering, if you uncovered something this extraordinary, what would you do? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible discoveries. And don't go just yet. Click on the next video now for more thrilling stories waiting to be told.